Relax and enjoy, if you will, for it is our intent to entertain, educate, and hopefully thrill. What a craft he possessed with a broad axe and such. And for early independence, he contributed much. A great builder was he. Now, who might that be? It's been documented to be true that the first log cabin courthouse in Jackson County could be the clue.
Let me all hemmed up in there. Never seen all this stuff before. Sam Shepard. They call me Uncle Sam, Old Sam, just all kinds of Sam. Grandpa, cousin. I came to Independence from it must have been, I'm probably 100 years old now, a little over, so it must have been 1823, 24 when I came here. I was brought here by my slave master, old James Shepard. He brought me, Ben and Pete. We came here and we toiled and labored as slaves, doing first one thing and then the other, mainly cutting wood. Boy, I tell you, I hate to brag on myself, but I was a real woodcutter.
Amen.
I cut 4 cords of wood a day, just a mere day. And for you people that don't know what a cord of wood is, from here to here, 8 foot long, 4 foot wide, and 4 foot high. Now, cutting 4 cords of wood a day, that's a pretty fair job with an axe. Anyway, this is the odd job that I did to keep old James kind of with a little money going and all. And, you know, we want to talk about my age. There's a lot of myths about my age that has never been settled. When I came to Independence in 1824, I was a grown man. So I don't know enough about anybody's math here, but with my story, that puts me up for a pretty good age. Now they tell me that I passed away in 1909. So somebody do the math. I would say I'm pretty close to 125 than 105. So, but that's another story we can tell another time. Anyway, as time passed on and we became slaves and did slave jobs and stuff, my master, he had a task. I often wondered what he got from that. But he had a task to do, and that was to build a log cabin courthouse. And he loaned us out, me and Ben and Pete. We split those logs and built that courthouse. Somebody tells me, now they tell me, that that courthouse is still standing. Now I don't know, but it sure was a lot of labor building that courthouse, but it was no problem for me and Ben and Pete. And Ben and Pete were the 2 other slaves that came up with Master's Jim. And then as time passed along, we used to hunt. We used to go right outside of Independence to the south there, and we could just kill about all the game you want. I mean, just a couple of blocks outside of the city, there was deer, and there was turkey, there was all kinds of things. So we had a field day just living off the land. And then my old master died in about 1853, 54. He passed away. And to settle the estate, I was sent or bought by Mr. Hickman. That old man Hickman, he owned out here where that Fairmount Park is. He had a grist mill there, and he also had a sawmill. And I worked around that place for Lord knows how long. And along came a guy by Mr. Jones. I think his name was Louis Jones, if I'm not mistaken. He had a hotel on the square, and they called it the Nebraska House. The Nebraska House. Why would they name a hotel in the Nebraska House? Another story. Anyway, he had the bright idea, and you think imagination wasn't running wild back then. He had the wild imagination that he'd like to have a sign hanging up in front of his hotel. So he came to Mr. Hickman and asked him if he could borrow me to whittle down a post that would fit this sign. And Mr. Hickman said, yes, I would be glad to loan it to you, but you need to talk it over with him also. So he came to me, Mr. Jones, and he asked me about whittling this log. And I said, well, I don't know, what's in it? He says, well, he says, I'll give you a new hat and a pair of shoes for cutting that log. And my first thought was, give me the money and I'll buy my own hat and my own shoes. But I knew better than to say that to him because I would have been in trouble. So I kind of swallowed that a little bit, and I thought about it, and then I said, I don't know. He said, I got one more thing to throw in. He said, while you're cutting on that log, he said, you can go inside there to the barkeeper and just tell him to give you a few drinks free of charge. I said, Mr. Jones, now you're talking. So they went out and they got a 30-foot log. They went out and they got a 30-foot log, white oak log, about as straight as a fiddle, and they brought it into town, and I went to work. And I whittled on that log, and I whittled on it. Boy, I bet I had enough chips to keep a stove burning for a week. All those doggone chips off of that thing. And all the time there were people coming and looking. Some come to see and to be amazed, and the other ones came to meddle. But anyway, I cut on those logs, and I cut on that log. And he said he wanted it 6-sided. Can you imagine making a 6-sided post? I cut on it and I laid them corners out to where them 6 sides were looking at just perfectly. And I was so proud of my work. So Mr. Jones, he come by and he wants to look at this log. And he looks at this log and he had a level and a square and all. And he took one look at that log and he says, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. He said, you didn't put this post in up to where there's not even a axe mark on this thing anywhere. On 30 foot, this thing was as smooth as you could plane it. I told him, I said, I told you I'd do you a good job. So anyway, he had this post, a hole dug about 5 foot in the ground, and they stood this post up in the air, and boy, he stood as straight as a fiddle. He went and had a sign made to hang up on this post, and got it all squared and had it modest into the post. And after he got through this sign, put it up there, none of them things I couldn't understand. He went and had a 2-sided sign put up, and on one side of that doggone sign, it had a big Indian, and the other side had a buffalo. Now what that had to do with a grooming house, I'll never know, but that's not for me to decide. And then, as time passed, many years passed, they told us this hotel was sitting on the west and north of the square, just right there off the square. And then as time passed, things started to change. And believe me, I don't need this cane, I just got it here just in case. fight left, and things started happening around the square. The post came down. They pulled the post down, and the guy by the name of Mr. Roberts came along, and he looked at that post, and he said, "I'd love to have that post." I said, "What are you going to do with it?" He said, "Well, you know, I bought the old Ralston Farm out west of town, about where Inglewood is. And said they named some street after the old Ralston too, but anyway, he had bought the farm from old man Ralston, and he said, "I want to make some entry gate posts out of them." So they took them posts and they cut them up, and they made gate posts out of entrance gate posts. And I'm not sure they're not still there today. I don't know. I ain't been by there for a while. But anyway, as time comes and we move on further, and I hope I'm not running out of time, but as time moves on, as slavery became an issue. And truthfully, everybody was trying to make a run for it. I had already got my slavery. I had worked myself out of slavery. And I had made a run for it because Missouri couldn't decide on what the heck they wanted to do. They didn't know if they wanted to be free or a slave state. So I decided to make up my mind the best thing for me to do is get the hell out of Dodge and move to Lawrence, Kansas. Kansas was a free state. And you know, you laugh about me running to Kansas, but Ohio Young ran to Leavenworth. So he wasn't wanting to go back into slavery either. So anyway, while I was in Lawrence, I had gotten pretty old. And just can you imagine me being a slave, seeing the burning of the city, seeing the movement west of all the people in Independence and all the trails and stuff taken off, being able to see all this, seeing a turn of the city. Actually, I could say, oh, I'm supposed to put my hat on too. My days will soon be over, but I had a wonderful time with all the troubles that I've been through. My days will soon be over, but I had a wonderful time with all the troubles that I've been through.